Good late afternoon slash early evening, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Another day of Seahawks training camp is in the books, and we got some things to go over, some maybe minor revelations, some interesting tidbits, mostly revolving around the defensive secondary, but a couple other things as well. I just want to quickly comb over all of it. So let's start with that defensive secondary because that group, along with probably the receivers, are kind of the stars of the show so far, it feels like. So, talking about the secondary here, this is one thing that really caught my attention as I was going through some of the information that came out from camp today. So, this tweet from Greg Bell talks about the dime defense where you had Kobe Bryant and Devin Witherspoon inside. So, Kobe was the nickel and Witherspoon was the dime. Again, Woolen's not on the field yet, so you have Tre Brown starting on the left side and Mike Jackson starting on the right side. So here we have Witherspoon playing as a dime cornerback, and then you go to this other Greg Bell tweet. He's talking more about the secondary as well. Witherspoon playing cornerback two, so he's one of the outside cornerbacks, and we also know that at various points today, according to what other people were saying, Witherspoon did get to play some nickel. So Witherspoon is moving all over the place so far in the early phases of his training camp experience. He's playing on the outside, he's playing some nickel, and he's even playing a little bit of dime. And that is exactly what I was hoping to see. He's at least getting that opportunity to be the guy that I'm hoping he can be this year, where he plays inside on nickel downs and he plays outside on base. Again, this is a relatively common thing around the NFL. You see players do this all the time. They slide into nickel because they're their team's best nickel corner, and then they move outside because they're such a good player. Even though nickel may be their best position, they're still one of your two best outside corners. So that's a way to keep themselves on the field at all times and put themselves in a position to play to their strengths at least most of the time. Again, most teams run three receiver sets a majority of the time these days. We're in a division with the Rams. The Rams are going to be running three receiver sets almost every snap. A team like the Cardinals, I don't know exactly what the Cardinals are going to look like this year, but they've traditionally used 3 and 4 receiver sets a lot. So you're going to see a lot of usage from a nickel cornerback. But again, I think Witherspoon should be able to handle outside and inside, and I'm glad we look like we're at least going to give him the opportunity. Will he actually get those reps in the regular season? We'll have to see. So the other highlight from the defensive back training camp competitions from today was several people pointed out Tre Brown. And Tre Brown is a guy I actually talked about yesterday as a potential trade guy. If you could get like a 6th or 7th or even a conditional 6th or 7th round pick for Tre Brown, that might be something you want to jump on because you're really deep in the secondary and you could maybe use the extra roster spot from not having Tre Brown to pad out an area of the team where you're not so deep, like, say, the defensive line. So Tre Brown, I don't know if he saw my video or not, but he did respond well to it because there were multiple call-outs from training camp that Tre Brown played well. He batted down a couple of passes to Lockett and Metcalf. Michael Sean Dugar here, I believe, called it out. He has a PBU against Lockett in the end zone. He had another against DK in the end zone. And he had a pickoff of Geno Smith on a lob pass to Will Dissly. So that's 3 really impressive plays from a guy who is currently buried on the depth chart and has a very, very much uphill battle to get to really any kind of meaningful playing time. So after hearing positive things about Mike Jackson pretty much the whole offseason and me starting to get the impression it's going to be really hard to keep Mike Jackson off the field if he is everything they're saying that he is, now you've got this Tre Brown stuff. This is why I'm saying there might be an opportunity here to get, even if it's just a little bit of an asset. If Tre Brown has a really good training camp, if Tre Brown has even a good preseason, then maybe you actually get a real asset. Even if it's just a 6th round or 7th round pick, that's not nothing. It seems like nothing right now, but it's not, especially if you're not going to get anything out of the player. So this is, I think, worth keeping an eye on here. But we've got a really good competition going in our secondary right now, and it might be something that we can take an advantage of. So seems like mostly rave reviews. I know Witherspoon gave up a touchdown today to Lockett, but yeah, I mean, giving up touchdowns to Tyler Lockett is something that a lot of our defensive backs have probably done in training camp over the years. So I know about that. I know Gino actually had a stretch in practice where he had 3 touchdowns in 4 plays, but he's also been a little turnover happy so far in training camp. He had 3 interceptions today. Diggs had one. Tre Brown had one. I can't remember who had the other one. Maybe they haven't said yet. But either way, you can kind of see there are a few things going on with that evaluation, right? Geno Smith, it seems like every day they're talking about how the offense has 3 or so touchdowns with Geno Smith in the 7-on-7 drills. Drew Lock usually has a couple, but then you've got these turnovers. I, I I think that's probably going to be reflective of the product that we get out there on the field in the regular season. Because I think this defense is not going to be all that great. I don't think it's even really going to be good. I would be pretty happy if this defense was average. Because right now I think this defense kind of averages out to be. I'll make a video tomorrow in which, in part, I talk more about this. But I think this defense will be lucky to be average in 2023. I'm imagining a little below average. But I think they're going to have a lot of turnovers. They're going to take the ball away a lot. So we may see what we're seeing in training camp translate well onto the football field, where the defense is giving up a good amount of points, but they're taking the ball away, getting the ball back to the offense, allowing them to score enough to win games anyway, even though the defense is giving up stuff. And as for some of these turnovers, like Drew Lock had a couple interceptions, I think 2 days ago. Gino had 3 today. I think that's just going to be a little bit of a part of their games that they're never going to be able to get completely away from. I think it's overstated. Like, I don't believe Gino's going to lead the league in interceptions or anything like that, especially not in the situation that he's in. But I don't think he's ever going to do the stuff that Aaron Rodgers used to do, where he would go through a whole season and have like 5 or 6 interceptions, or Brady would do that, Wilson would do that. I think Geno's just going to have at least 8, probably 10 interceptions in him. That's just how it goes. So I think that's probably pretty reflective of the product we're going to get in the regular season. You're going to have turnovers, but you're going to score enough to offset it a vast majority of the time. You're going to give up points, but you're going to have takeaways to offset that most of the time. So that's the main stuff from training camp today. Some pretty interesting stuff. Love what's going on in this secondary. Seems like we got a lot of really good competition here. Everybody's getting the chance to get on the field right now because Adams is still not healthy. So you're seeing Kobe Bryant get involved, which, hey, great. I mean, he played fairly well last year, so there's certainly nothing wrong with getting him on the field some. Last thing I want to talk about real quick, not training camp related. For those of you who are thinking that maybe Godwin Ikebikhe would be returning to the Seahawks this season, he has signed with the Atlanta Falcons. There was a possibility that we bring him back to handle kickoff returns, but as the offseason went on, it kind of started to become apparent to me that we probably weren't going to have enough money. Now, after some of the things we did last week, we did have enough money, but we look like we're sticking with what we have. Ikebikhe is not going to be on this team this year, it looks like, unless he gets released before the season starts. And there didn't seem to be a ton of interest from the Seahawks in bringing him back. So we must be pretty happy with the idea of McIntosh maybe being a kickoff returner, or DJ Dallas. All right, that's the update from training camp. See you guys later. Go Hawks.